Hello, my friends in film fandom, wherever you may be and however you may be watching. Thank you so much for giving us just a little bit of your time. Going back into the Disney catalog a bit to the early 2000s at the request of our special guest, because I figured, what the hell, they got the remake coming out. We may as well do a retro review of this before we break it up, before we break down the newer movie next week. But why not? It gives us a good chance to suck him back out on the show so that he can give us his wisdom and grace. Oh, wait a minute. We're not talking about Jurassic Park. We're talking about some other movie. Why did I bring the dinosaur expert on again?
Spared no expense.
Yeah. Suddenly this made a lot less sense.
The voice you're now hearing is your ghost host with the most.
Yeah, but anyway, we're always glad to have him here. It's about damn time he came back on and joined us. We're talking about Haunted Mansion tonight, the 2003 film that came out with Eddie Murphy, but we're glad to have him. And of course, the rest of my co-hosts, starting with my Hero Life Page, Jeremy. What's up, brother? What's the cosplay today? Who are you?
I don't even know anymore. This is the fourth time now I've just gotten all dressy. I mean,
his personalities are starting to blend. He crossed the streams. He can't get out of it.
Well, you say that, and I'm wearing a Ghostbusters pin on this thing to definitely not hold it down because the fold is not where it needs to be. But hey, the show's got to go on. It does say I ain't afraid of no ghosts, so I felt like it was appropriate.
It's fitting. It's fitting.
It is. This is the fit. I mean, I don't really know. This is something I've had bits of. This is like a little weird, like, voodoo doctor kind of jacket, which makes sense since this movie is in Louisiana, allegedly. So this is about as 18th century or whatever the hell, 19th century actually. I think this movie takes place, or they were in
the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, some Victorian era ghost. This is about as close as you get. And I mean, I get a chance to wear the top hat. And if anyone realizes, I somehow figured out my Bluetooth. So now you can get cosplays with hats.
Nice.
You just need that. You'll be set, dude.
I know. I'm like, I thought about doing some like candles in here, but I'm like, I know that'd be a fucking nightmare trying to do. Or
Take
have
him
a
to
lantern.
Oh.
I mean, I still got the kind of mutton chops, so it kind of works. And I wish I'd put my contacts in. I would have looked even more ghostly, but I just got them, so I haven't worked that out yet.
Yeah, Jeremy's getting more technologically advanced every day. And then, of course, one of our horror experts, the shape from the Lone Star State, our man Tex. What's up, brother?
Can y'all promise me this review's only going to be 20 minutes max? I mean, just 20 minutes, and then we're done and we're out of here. Yeah, 20 minutes tops, right?
You know these never take 20 minutes, right? Nothing takes
20 No, I need a guarantee. I need a written guarantee this is a 20 minutes top thing, and we can get out of here. Bye. I'm going to need that.
There's only one thing I can guarantee that's like maybe 20 minutes tops, and I was like 13, but we don't talk about that. So.
After doing two or three horror movies right in a row, which is right in Texas wheelhouse, we've kind of beat him up a little bit with like Oppenheimer and this movie and all the stuff that doesn't really have the things that he likes.
I'm a team player. I'm a team player. It's all about us, not one. It's all good. You know what I mean? So let's do this.
And our special guest, our good friend, the Brooding Gamer. What's going on with you, my brother?
Doing pretty good. Thank you for having me tonight.
Not damn time. We got to do more stuff together, man.
We
did all the Jurassic Park movies. You know what we got to do? Like the Meg. It's kind of a.
Oh, we're doing the Meg.
We'll do the Meg too.
We're doing Sharknado, right?
Sure.
Monster movies.
Yes, all of them. All of the Sharknadoes. All of them. I love that.
Let's just do. Yeah. Hey, what is it? National Geographic has their Shark Week. Let's do it.
We could.
We could have Shark Week.
That sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Might be able to work something out like that. I don't know. We'll see. I don't have to see what the release calendar is. But we are here today, of course, to talk about, again, suggested by Brooding Gamer. And I figured, hey, why not? It seems like a perfect time to do it. We're talking about the 2003 version of The Haunted Mansion from Disney. As I pull up my notes here, I didn't print them today, which is unlike me. Haunted Mansion is a 2003 American supernatural horror comedy. Wow, that was a mouthful. Film directed by Rob Minkoff and written by David Berenbaum, based on Walt Disney's theme park attraction of the same name. The film stars Eddie Murphy as a realtor who, along with his family, becomes trapped in a haunted mansion. Terence Stamp, Wallace Shawn, Marsha Thomason, and Jennifer Tilly appear all in supporting roles. The film was theatrically released in the United States on November 26th of 2003. It was panned by critics but performed well at the box office, grossing $182.3 million worldwide against a $90 million budget. I think that's probably profitable. If not, it's close to breaking even. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film does have a pretty bad rating of 14% based on 140 reviews and an average rating of 4.2 out of 10. The site's consensus reading reads, "Neither scary nor funny, the Haunted Mansion is as lifeless as the ghosts in the movie." Roger Ebert in the Chicago Sun-Times gave the film 2.5 stars out of a possible 4, which is a not terrible rating, by writing, "The surprising thing about the Haunted Mansion isn't that it's based on a Disney theme park ride, but that it has ambition. It wants to be more than a movie version of the ride. I expected an insane series of nonstop action sequences, but what I got was a fairly intriguing story and an actual plot that is actually resolved. That doesn't make the movie good enough to recommend, but it makes it better than the ads suggested." I mean, you got a decent review from Roger Ebert, which is great, but I mean, the critics over the years have not been kind to it. Again, 14% on Rotten Tomato. But we all know that fans can be a little prickly about things like this. I mean, real quick, I'll go to you first, Tex. Just get a brief paragraph on what you thought of the
film. This was the first watch for me. I checked it out like 2 o'clock this morning because I couldn't sleep. Incredible set design. The mansion itself, the landscape, I mean, everything of it. I love obviously it's CG. And it's not, the CGI is not great in this movie. It's shoddy at best, but if I ever get rich, you'll know, because I'll have a house very, very similar to this with the graveyard and the whole thing. Because I dig it. It fits me. But not a good movie. Not gonna lie. I wanted to turn it off halfway through and put Eddie Murphy through a wall, but once it gets to the end, I didn't regret watching it because, like I said, I'd never seen it before. So, yeah, it's a movie. Try not to be too negative here at the beginning, but it is what it is. So,
well, Jeremy, I'll go to you next. I mean, brief paragraph, what you saw of the film overall.
Well, this is definitely not a first watch for me. This is it's one that I don't get tired of watching, which I know I said. There's a few movies that I do that with, and this is like weirdly kind of one of those comfort movies that I could just have on in the background because, I mean, I watched it a lot as a kid. This came out a few days after my birthday of that year, so I was about the same age as his son, so I kind of get it. I kind of connect with that little guy. I get it. He just turned 10. I just turned 11, so I was still getting used to it as well. I get you, man. But yeah, no, it's like Tex said, like the thing, I know it's early 2000s and the CGI is not quite there. We all saw the Scorpion King, unfortunately. But yeah, the set design more than makes up for it. Like, the crypt, the house, the cemetery. They put a lot of work into some of the effects and practical stuff. So yeah, I don't mind watching this movie. I could watch it again right now. I wouldn't even be mad.
Yeah, I'll go to you next to our ghost host. Just brief paragraph, and then we'll get into the official breakdown. Just kind of your thoughts on the film.
It is definitely something that stood out to me. I mean, it's one of my first horror movies, if you could even say it's a horror movie, that I saw when I was just a little lad. It's definitely one that sat with me forevers and evers. But, it...
Damn you. Damn you to hell.
Damn you all to hell. I mean, obviously, I'm a little... Which way am I pointing here? I'm a little bit of a fan. Got it on the hat. Got it on the shirt. Got it on pretty much everything here. And it's even going to be the theme for the house this year on Halloween. So, I mean, I'm a little obsessed. It's one of those movies that, like, I couldn't stand Eddie Murphy. I never really liked Eddie Murphy to begin with. For me, it was always just, isn't that the guy who plays Donkey? And even like going into it, like I didn't really like him in the movie. I just liked everything apart from him. His wife, and I can't remember her name, actually was a much better actor.
Sarah.
Everybody in that movie was a better actor than Eddie Murphy because his kids were a little annoying. But apart from that, Master Gracie was amazing. The butler, Ramsley, Ramsley, whatever. Everybody was great. Everybody, except for Eddie.
Yeah, I thought the movie. I mean, I've always thought the movie is kind of typical Disney fare. It's not bad. Look, it's not high art. It's not Shakespeare, but these are the kind of movies that Disney has done very, very well since the very beginning of their movie stuff. I mean, they're good family entertainment. I would have liked a little bit more of the horror element, but I understand that it's Disney and they don't want to make it too scary or gory because they kind of have an image to maintain. But it's an entertaining movie. I mean, it was in that period of time where Eddie Murphy had kind of gotten away from playing like the Axel Foley's and stuff like that. It had gotten more into some of the more family-oriented stuff. You know, this Dr. Dolittle. You know, some other things that he had done over the years.
Daddy Daycare.
Things like that. So I mean, it was an interesting transition for him for his career. But I mean, I don't hate him in the movie. But I grew up watching like Raw and Delirious, and you know all the cool stuff that he was doing. You know the Beverly Hills Cop, things like that. So
Coming to America.
Yeah. It was a bit different for me to see Eddie Murphy in that role, but entertaining. Again, it was good quality Disney fare. When Disney says they're making a movie, I kind of want stuff like this. It's entertaining for me. It's entertaining for my kids. I don't feel like I got robbed of my money for the ticket when I walk out of the theater after seeing this. I felt like I was entertained for a couple hours. That's pretty much all I really need to satisfy me for a movie anyway. I don't want much except for, you know, Oscar level everything. But you know, it's a good movie. I don't think it would be bad to watch. If you've never seen it before, I don't think you'd feel
Hang on, wait. How many feet of IMAX was this one? I mean, I know the last one was like 11 miles, right? So how much IMAX was this one? I'm just curious.
I think this was about 5 years pre-IMAX.
Right.
5, maybe 10 years pre-IMAX. So.
Oh, okay. So there's no IMAX. Okay. Just curious. I needed to know.
Yeah, believe this. I mean, the budget for Oppenheimer was only $10 million more than this film, which back in the early 2000s, $90 million was not. It was not a small chunk of change to spend in a film. So, I mean, probably financially, if they're lucky, it broke even. But I mean, I think it might have been tough to say this movie probably turned a financial profit. But I mean, it's one of those movies that over the years is kind of like Hocus Pocus or something like that. It's not. It didn't do very well when it first came out, but like I know that it's on the 31 Days of Christmas at Freeform, or 31 Days of Halloween that Freeform does every October. It's one of the movies that they play on there, and it's gotten kind of a cult following, especially with the kids, the younger generation, like the teenagers and stuff. Today's teenagers have found the movie and they kind of like it. Of course, they probably didn't know Eddie Murphy back in the Delirious and Raw days, but I mean, we didn't either. There's time to corrupt them still, no problem. But yeah, it's a good movie to watch. It's typical Disney fare. It's not bad. And to top it off, they do kind of. And I'll talk about it a little bit later in the trivia. They do use this movie to kind of pay homage a little bit to some of the people that were instrumental in the growth of Disney in the 60s and whatnot. So it's good. It's good typical Disney. When Disney is not trying to do way too much with their film, they make movies like this, and it's enjoyable. So I'm pretty happy with the movie overall. But let's start with the cast first. I mean, you know, I'll start with you, Brooding Gamer. You said you don't like Eddie Murphy, and I kind of get it. Maybe he's not for everyone, but what did you think of just the overall cast of the film? Did it work for you?
Well, I have to say, there's a lot of characters that were original to this film, and the actors that they are original to the mansion themselves, and then original to the story of the Haunted Mansion itself, looking at the ride and everything. And for those who have had names for the mansion, but no actual face to them, like Master Gracie, who has a famous headstone outside of the mansion, which is also my hat. They put these characters, these actors, they did pretty good. I guess I should say. I'm all over the place here. All the actors felt like they belonged. I will say, of course, you have Eddie Murphy, who's supposed to play that father of. He's a workaholic. He's not exactly the best father out there. But, you know, honestly, his character was really just kind of dry for me. But with actor-wise, I mean, they did really good with every single person in there. You had the duo ghost couple, the butler. I'd say the butler's butler. I'm not entirely sure.
He's a man's man.
He's the footman.
The footman, yeah. All I know is I'm like Rex, the guy who voices Rex. I can't.
Inconceivable.
Yeah, yeah. There we go. The two of them were great. They're super random, and their comedy relief was great. Ramsley was terrifying as hell when I was a kid, and he did great. I thought he was a perfect actor for that. Of course, Jennifer Tilly for Madame Leota. Oh, that'll never get old. She played a fantastic Madame Leota, and I'm really wishing they would have brought her back for this one or something. But that's a story for a different day. Different story, different mansion, I guess we could say. But I love the acting, the cast for this film. It was great.
Jeremy, how about you? Quick breakdown. Do you think the cast worked for you?
Yeah. I mean, I kind of like, you said, Frank, I had the reverse effect. Like, I grew up with like Shrek Eddie Murphy, Daddy Daycare Eddie Murphy, Haunted Mansion Eddie Murphy, Dr. Dolittle. So, and then, people like you have to, be a bad influence on me, and I watch Raw and Delirious like a little later in my life, and I'm like, oh, now I completely understand this man, I think. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, good God, that's what he's like. Okay, gotcha. So I don't know. Maybe to me, it seemed kind of sad that it almost seemed like they were just reining him in, like tightening his leash. Like, okay, now you chill, you be good now, because like this is just a string of just like family movies. But like I said, maybe that's just because I grew up with this. Eddie Murphy doesn't really bother me. I mean, he does the best with what he's got. What's her name? Marsha Thomason. You know what? I don't even believe for a fucking second. Eddie Murphy's great, but I don't believe for a second you pulled a number like that. Like, there's no way in hell. And it blew my mind that she was like 27 when she made this movie. I was like, what?
You want to see even go watch the TV show Las Vegas if you want to see some real good sides of her, and I'll leave it at that. But, she's one of the stars on that.
She's a good looking lady.
Yeah, I think she's in one of the FBI shows that's been out the last couple of years too.
Yeah,
I don't know, but I know she's very eye pleasing on Las Vegas, so she ain't bad to look at.
She ain't hard to look at. So,
right.
Yeah, Terence Stamp is an absolute like legend.
Kneel before Zod.
God,
I mean, of course,
Stamp is such a good bad guy.
I know. I'm like, even when I'm in Star Wars, I'm like, oh my God, that's the Chancellor of the Republic. Hell, he's also the creepy ghost butler in Haunted Mansion. So
he's in Star Wars.
Yeah, he's in the Phantom Menace. He's the
Chancellor.
Yeah, he was the one before. He was the one that was right before Palpatine.
All right, I gotta go.
Yeah. You're never gonna see episode 1 the same way again. You got Chancellor Ramsey. But yeah, no, he's always fantastic. I think yeah, I agree. I love the maid and the footman. They're absolutely hilarious. And I think my favorite character has always been Mr. Gracie, because I mean, you can't deny that man had some drip, dude. That the clothes he wears. Like, I wish I could dress like that all the time. I mean, kind of like this, but dress for the job you want, I guess. But I can't show up to work like this. Because it's like he's not a bad guy. I mean, just what was his mistake? Was love his mistake?
Yes.
Yes. Like that's what makes you a good bad guy. Because holy crap, his voice just booms throughout that whole room.
He's so much up his sleeve. I mean, the dude's a ghost, a butler, and he can summon a Charizard out of a chimney. I mean, come on, man.
I know, man. I was like, hey, the weather in that house is crazy, son. Like, you went from heaven and hell like in 30 seconds. Crazy. Yeah, no, I always liked Mr. Gracie because he's always just kind of like, it's just a sad story. This man just wanted to move on from this weird purgatory into the afterlife, and he couldn't. And it's like, man, no, this poor man died of a broken heart, swinging from the ceiling. I gotta be careful. This is 2023 now, not 2003. I can't probably say that.
They haven't changed it on the rock. We should be okay.
I'll say
2003. YouTube wasn't around, so I don't know. It's a different time.
Tex, how about you? What do you think of the cast of the film? Did it work overall for you? Who stood out the most for you with their performance?
Well, it's obviously Terence Stamp, Ramsley or Ramsey, well, whatever that. He's Zod to me. He will forever and always be Zod. That's all he ever needs to be. I thought he was great in this film. It's if you've ever seen a spooky, not quite whodunit, but kind of spooky kind of house film, whether it's 13 Ghosts, House on Haunted Hill. This is very much in that vein of those movies, just kind of a kid's version of it updated. I thought Ramsey was great. Terence Stamp, he's always good. Oddly enough, I think the daughter of the family was very good in this movie. Very well acted. From the scene of killing the spider on the window to the going into the water to get the key with the zombies and the whatever. Which that zombies, I was so hoping for that zombie to eat Eddie Murphy in that scene. I'm like, can we just kill this guy off, please? Just do it quickly. But yeah, I thought those two were really the standouts for me. Jennifer Tilly did well. I mean, we only get this much of her when we need to move the camera down more, but it's a kid.
That's what you have Child's Play for.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah. Bride of Chucky, tremendous film. I loved it.
Yeah.
But no, it was I don't care for Eddie Murphy. Anything past Shrek or Beverly Hills Cop, that's basically all I've ever really cared about Eddie Murphy for. Like I said, the wife was from Las Vegas. That's where I recognized her from. But other than that, I didn't really care about the cast. Besides Ramsey and the daughter, I thought they were kind of the best of all of them.
Yeah, I really like the cast. Look, I love Eddie Murphy. I mean, I used to watch Eddie Murphy back in the day with the couple seasons that he was still on Saturday Night Live, even before Raw and Delirious. He's always been tremendously funny, and not to mention he's a much better actor than I think he's gotten credit for. I don't know if any of you have seen Mr. Church. I mean, he turns off the comedy, and his dialogue delivery and his character work in that is phenomenal. So, and I like the fact that he's kind of in the last several years he's kind of reinvented himself a little bit. That he's taken on other kinds of roles other than just the Axel Foley kind of stuff, or even this stuff like this, Daddy Daycare, things like that. And he's kind of gotten away from this stuff too, and he's really kind of spread his wings a little bit as an actor. Terence Stamp. What do you say about that guy? Except he's kind of awesome. But the people that stood out to me really in this one is Nathaniel Parker, who plays Master Gracie, and Marsha Thomason. I mean, for one, she is just knockout gorgeous in this movie.
Yeah.
She is intimidatingly beautiful, and Nathaniel Parker, God, to me, some of my favorite parts of the movie were like towards the end, as the whole marriage is getting ready to happen and he's getting ready to take her soul or whatever. I wanted more of him all throughout this movie. It's like even in the beginning parts when he's first in there, I mean, you get kind of attached to him kind of in the opening credits when you kind of see how things have played out and why we're going to find ourselves in the position that we find ourselves in the movie. And I liked it when they first get there and he's doing the whole I'm this real cryptic weird guy. But man, he really kicks it up a notch when you get to that point later in the movie after he starts to explain everything to Sarah and everything starts to play out. And towards the end, boy, he flips another switch and he gets so good. Part of me was like, I almost wanted this movie to be about 10 minutes longer of just some really good dialogue of him, because he was very enjoyable to me. I really, really liked him. I'm really hoping that this new movie, when it comes out later tonight or officially tomorrow, that I don't know if Nathaniel Parker is going to be a character in this. I honestly know nothing about the new movie, which is kind of by design. But I really hope that if he is in the movie, they kind of explore him a little bit more. I think it'd be a nice little homage to everything that Nathaniel Parker did in this movie. Those were the two biggest standouts for me. And the kids were the kids. I mean, Jennifer Tilly, she plays what she plays. Wallace Shawn is kind of the same character in every movie that he's in. That's okay by me. I don't really care. That's kind of what I want.
He's got an iconic voice. You can't really stray from that. That's kind of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, you could say that he's a bit typecast, but I mean, he's made a pretty good career about being typecast. So
yeah,
whatever. But yeah, I like the cast. And really, there's not a big cast in this movie compared to most Disney movies. I mean, a lot of it's just like CGI ghosts, the singing cement busts of the guys and all that. I mean, they're all CGI. They're not really based on anybody, I don't believe. But
one of them is somebody in particular that we all are familiar with.
Which one?
The one, if you're looking at him on the very far right with the little little Vincent Price mustache.
Oh, I didn't notice. I wasn't paying that close of attention to it.
Oh, that's it's just this this one dude, like this intern guy. I think his name is Walt Disney.
Oh yeah, I think I read that they made it to look like Walt Disney, but it's not a direct representation of Disney.
Well,
I didn't catch that whatsoever. I didn't see that one.
Because it's not Walt Disney, actually.
It is, but it's not. You know what I mean? Yeah.
It's actually his name is Thurl Ravenscroft. He is the voice. He is the person who does the ghost host on the ride. He is the person who he sings that song, and it's also Tony the Tiger. If a lot of you, the old Tony the Tiger. So it was weird hearing Tony go, singing Grim Grinning Ghost. But a lot of people always think that is Walt Disney, and they're like, actually, it's Thurl Ravenscroft, but it just so happens that the two of them look pretty similar. And that's one of that's been I don't want to say like not a myth for the longest time, but one of the things is like everybody was like, oh, it's Walt Disney. Well, actually, it's Thurl Ravenscroft, but it looks like Walt Disney, so we're just gonna go with either one. So I still love it nonetheless. I think each bust is supposed to be designed after who sang their part within the ride, and I think they did a fantastic job with that.
Yeah, but like I said,
Disney.
Yeah, well, I mean, Disney is, like I said, they're pretty good, and I've got a couple of examples I'll talk about in the trivia. They're pretty good about paying homage to the people that have built Disney over the last,
like I just said, it's like not like Vincent Price doesn't have that same exact damn look. I mean,
True.
we just talked about Fallout. I mean, like Mr. House looks like Walt Disney as well. He's got the same stupid comb over and little mustache.
Cookies?
Tall
cookies? Who are you? Trespassers don't get cookies.
Fine, I'll take them. Shit.
Throw a cookie at him, Rachel. Throw a cookie at him.
I know you throw a cookie at me.
That was good.
Oh, because the dog. Yeah, right in the hat. If I had time to take the hat off, I would have caught it.
You can tell how
like
way I am when the whole time I'm like, what freaking cookie is it? Is it Snickerdoodle?
No, this is cotton candy or some shit. It's Oreo, not sponsored by the way.
Oh,
but, I don't know. These are
kind of funny. All of those, head statue deals. You're talking about how one looked like Vincent Price. If you go back to Vincent Price's catalog of films, they're like each one of those heads looks like a Vincent Price. One will have the mutton chops in a movie. One's got the mustache. Technically, all of those could be Vincent Price from the decades of film that he did, which I did think was kind of funny. Kind of an homage to him because I love Vincent Price. Him and from House of Wax, House on Haunted Hill, so many films that he did. This film felt kind of like an homage to a lot of his work.
He would have made a very good Master Gracie.
He would have been cool in this movie to see that.
I'm surprised. Like you think they get the king of one of the kings of horror. I don't want to say he is the king of horror, but he's pretty up.
Definitely up there. Yeah, Vincent Price made the way for a lot of people. If it wasn't for his contributions, Scary Media would not be where it is today, no doubt.
Was he even still alive when this movie came out?
Yes.
Yeah, he was alive in 03. Yeah.
Because I'm like,
I think he was.
The last thing he did was Edward Scissorhands, right? And that was like in the 90s. That's why I was like, was he still alive?
Well,
I think he was alive in 03. I'm not for sure.
I'm looking at it right now. No, he passed away in 93.
I was gonna say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought he was still alive.
Yeah, I was like, it was Edward Scissorhands.
Either way, Vincent Price is a legend, and you should go watch.
True.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, they
have
that. They have that playing in line. I don't remember where it was. It might have been. It might have been Kings Island. They had like the TVs up. I mean, you guys probably know what I'm talking about. They have like a horror movie playing, and one of them was House on Haunted Hill. While you're standing in line, at least you can watch like some good, classic spooky stuff.
Yeah, I like that at certain attractions. I think they do it on the Banshee. If you're waiting, they'll play.
One of them was doing The Exorcist, which was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. 13 Ghosts is what was playing when I went last. And I was like, all right, well, I can watch this.
Yeah, his His last movie was Edward Scissorhands in
Edward
1990.
Scissorhands.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
His last on-screen appearance was a TV movie called The Heart of Justice in 1992. He passed away in October of 93.
Man.
I'd love to meet that man's tombstone.
It's probably on top of some haunted hill, right?
That or it'd be his tombstone
Befitting.
with stone bats and gargoyles all over it, you know.
Oh, it's gonna be a really wicked tombstone. I mean, it has to be.
I imagine he's probably buried in that Hollywood cemetery with all those other, actors from that era or whatever. I would imagine that's probably where it is.
Possibly.
Death. Let's see. His remains were cremated, his ashes scattered off Nicholas Canyon Beach near Point Doom in Malibu.
Oh,
okay. Well,
he went the way I want to go. Cremate mine.
Dume, D-U-M-E, Point Dume in Malibu. I don't know how to pronounce it.
right next to Barbie's house in Malibu. Hey. Really,
But
brings the value up.
Let's talk about the plot for a minute. It's when Disney was in the habit of making these movies that were kind of based on their rides. The plot was one of the things that always had people wondering. It's like, you make this Pirates of the Caribbean, what's it, Jungle Cruise they just did a couple years ago with The Rock. The plot was something that had a lot of people scratching their head. They were like, how do you make a movie out of this thing that you just sit in, you go see some ghosts? It's basically a glorified haunted house like you would find in just about any kind of, Carnival Midway. How do you make a movie out of this, kind of relatively, simple ride? But they managed to make something, and I agree with Roger Ebert's assessment of this. It's a pretty solid story that has it's a solid 3-act film. I'll go to you first, Brooding Gamer. I mean, did the plot work for you, or was there something else that you would have liked to have seen?
So the plot worked very well for me, in my opinion. I think it was very good obviously the whole point of the movie is to make a man who looks at his job more important than his family and have his family taken right out from under him by forces that you typically wouldn't be able to fight against. I mean,
because Disney's never made a movie like that before.
Never. Hey, at least no mothers were killed.
Yes.
Bam.
Technically, Mom did die in this. I'm just saying.
Yeah, she did.
Mom.
Yeah.
I love the plot. Honestly, the only issue I even have with the movie is the graveyard scene is not longer. That's always been my favorite part of the ride. And that there was a couple that are very famous and well known that they completely cut from the film in total. And those two being the Hatbox Ghost, which we are going to be getting as the main antagonist for the new one, and the Beating Heart Bride, Constance Hatchaway, which is supposedly the owner of the mansion, but they flipped it. I mean, that's one of those, like, seriously, there are so many lore channels on YouTube for Haunted Mansion. Who owns the mansion, who owned it. It turns out that there's a whole section of the parks in Disney in total where it's the person who owns part of the dock in Pirates of the Caribbean is actually the person who owns the mansion, and it's ridiculous. And if they're focusing on that type of a plot for the new movie, it's going to be ridiculous. But I think that they made their own thing. They did not even go remotely close to how the ride has always been themed. They took, I mean, obviously, like you said, how do you make a story about a ride? It's like, if I wanted to make a movie, I mean, hell, we had Face Off at Kings Island. That's not at all. How do you make a ride on that? I mean, apart from, you going on the ride with your mom and then getting off with your mom's face and vice versa. I thought the plot, I swear I ramble and I go in directions that make no sense. I think the plot was good. I liked it. I wish there was more graveyard scene, and I wish there was some more certain ghost. But apart from that, I think they did a damn good job, or a hell of a job if you're speaking from a butler's point of view. But I think they did fantastic.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? I mean, did the plot work out for you? Was there anything that you would have added or subtracted from the story?
I mean, I'm still waiting for this cinematic universe of Disney ride movies. I want the Teacup movie, damn it.
We have that.
Hey, I'm here for it.
It's called Alice. Look it up now.
All right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what, I can't say I would know what I would do with this kind of thing. It's like, yeah, it's a ride you go through at Disney. Same with Pirates of the Caribbean. I mean, it's kind of inherently in the title, really. I mean, you think Haunted Mansion, Pirates of the Caribbean. But I'm like, you kind of have some wiggle room. I mean, Disney can, you can make this whatever you want it to be. So it's kind of fun to kind of expand it and give more, see more of the house. You get, the ghosts and this kind of odd plot where they think this woman is reincarnate of his 200-year-old dead wife or soon-to-be wife. But hey, semantics, however you spend your Sunday. I mean, again, I know I'm not going to stop saying it, but I mean, if she looked like that, man, I'd go for it too. Shoot your shot, Gracie. That's basically this whole movie. But it's a fun plot, and like you said, I think that's why I liked Master Gracie so much. Is it's this weird. You're kind of like, okay, I don't get this guy's angle. What's the whole? Anyway, he's kind of this suave, ritzy owner of this mansion, and then you're like, okay, something's unfolding here, and then it's just like, again, if you're waiting for 200 years for like your true love to come back in whatever form, man, does he just, my God, like I wouldn't have, I think I agree with Frank. I would have loved to have seen more of him, but honestly, it kind of works because then, and you get Eddie Murphy's workaholic dad type who, learns a lesson about being a little more in tune with your own family. So happy Disney endings. And all that.
Every great Disney movie's got one.
Yeah.
Tex, how about you? I mean, I know that you lean much more towards the horror genre, and there probably wasn't enough of the special effects, scary ghost stuff here to satisfy you. But I mean, just speaking on the plot, was it at least enough to kind of keep you interested in the movie for a while?
This is the same plot as Jingle All the Way, except it's Halloween, not Christmas. It's literally the exact same thing. It's overworked dad doesn't pay attention to his family. He has to come, through circumstances to figure it out. This movie is as a new viewer to this. I mean, this isn't dictated by the plot. This is obviously, as y'all talked about, this is a movie based on a ride. You're watching the movie version of the ride. It's literally all it is. The plot details, whether you get them or you don't, they really don't matter. It's, you have to go find the key. Then you have to find the crate. Go to this tomb. Go to here. Go to there. It's an adventure as it goes through. The plot is just there to loosely hold it together, which is not necessarily a bad thing. Not every film needs plot-heavy details to be good. I mean, obviously, Gamer and Jeremy saw this film as children. They weren't worried about, is the plot, what are the details, who did what, where, and why. That comes later on in life.
The butler did it?
Saw this. Right.
I
very much like Clue. The plot it's there. It's a loose binding, mechanism, just containing the story. It's not the plot's not the reason why you go watch this movie. It's because you're a Disney fan, you love the theme parks, and this is the ride in movie form. This is all this really is. And I've never been to Disney. I've never really cared. But, the plot was good enough for what this film was. It didn't need to be anymore. If you got plot down heavy, you would have weighed the thing down. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for me, when it comes to the plot, Disney's got this formula. And when Disney works the formula, they generally make really watchable and, generally speaking, pretty profitable films. I mean, do they make $1 billion like an MCU film or something like that? Well, no, but they're profitable. They're fun to watch. They're movies that will stand up. You know what I mean? It's when Disney kind of tries to stray from their formulas when they have some problems. That's kind of where the problems start for Disney when the films that don't work for Disney are things that get too far away from the formula that they have made work for 100 years almost. So it is a very formulaic Disney thing, and it works. It works great. Look, I mean, this movie, I don't know, name any other Disney movie, Freaky Friday, whatever. I mean, it is kind of just what Disney does. There's a basic storyline, but we're going to set it against the theme of something that you guys already know and love. So we're going to take this theme, we're going to take this kind of general plot, and we're going to put it up against either a Haunted Mansion or Pirates of the Caribbean, or because how many pirate movies have ever made over the course of film history? But they come out with Pirates of the Caribbean. It's basically just a pretty average pirate story told against the backdrop of this ride that everybody's known for 50 years. So, it's the formula that works. This is when Disney usually does their best stuff. So then really at that point, all you got to do is get some capable actors that can go in there and do it. And, at the time you're looking at Eddie Murphy, who had, Daddy Daycare and Dr. Dolittle. He had been doing all the family stuff around this time. You bring in this new actress, a couple of young kids that, are going to get their start in the business. Actually, I think the guy that plays the son, he was the little black kid in Role Models. Is that what it was with? Yeah, he was one of the little kids who was part of the Big Brother program or whatever.
We were looking at him, we're like, wait a minute, we've seen him before.
Yeah, he's in that. He's been in another movie. I don't remember what it is. But and then you add in someone like a Terence Stamp, who is already at this point kind of a legend, and then you add in I don't like the name, Nate, who's the one that played Nathaniel. Nathaniel Parker, who played Master Gracie, who's been around himself for a while as well, especially over in Europe, doing a lot of stuff for like the BBC and stuff like that. It's good stuff. It worked for me. Like I said, it didn't have to be too much. They didn't have to go for an Oscar here. They just had to put together a good movie that was a good family fare, and that's what Disney does. But let's just kind of talk. Let's talk about the CGI for just a minute. It's a little dated to look at. But I mean, Tex, doesn't it still kind of work? I mean, you would only expect so much from a movie like this anyway. I mean, $90 million, which is a decent amount of money for 2003, but still is not the big budget fare that you would expect for them to go all out with. I thought it was fairly decent, and as I was watching, I was like, it holds up pretty well for what it is. I mean, were they too dated for you, or did they take you out of the movie? I mean, what do you think of the special effects?
Okay, quick remind me, when did the Lord of the Rings trilogy, that was 03 to 06, right?
2001 to 2003.
Okay, so that era, the CGI, now I don't know the budget of what those movies were. It may be way more than what this movie spent. I don't know. But the CGI in that trilogy compared to this one, it's night and day. Sometimes this stuff looks good, like when you see, when you first see the backyard and you see the cemetery, all the graves, and the headstones, and everything else. Obviously, it's a CG shot, but it looks good. I even paused it to try to see some details or whatever. That shot holds up. Whereas if you go to the end of the movie when they're driving with the statue heads on the back of the car going down the highway shot, that CGI looked terrible. It just depends on, from shot to shot what it may be. But it didn't. The CGI wasn't bad enough to take me out of the film. When you had that, like the CG with the plasma orb going through the house, that looked well. The dragon looked cool. The ghostly kind of stuff, the green, kind of hues that were in the house. A lot of that looked great. The CGI is not bad. It's meh, it's good and bad. It's whatever. But I mean, you're watching a family-friendly, kind of a spooky movie. You're not looking for, like you said, we're not looking for an Oscar winner here. I think it was as good as it needed to be, but it wasn't like outstanding. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's go to Brooding Game here for this one. I mean, the CGI, does it hold up for you, or do you look at it now and is it kind of cringy?
I mean, it's definitely of course I'm going to reference it. Like you look today at Jurassic Park, who's, I mean, the animation for that movie was the first of its time and well older than this, and it still holds up to this day. The Haunted Mansion wise, I don't think a single ghost in that movie was actually not an actual person. that they just did special effects to. Nobody in that was an actual like animated character, if that makes any sense.
How they do the ghosts in Star Wars. Like that's an
Yeah.
actual person.
Yes.
And
Apart from Eddie, when he becomes when he's
zombie.
and he's a zombie, that was interesting. I mean, you got to think, looking at that, Michael Eisner, when he was in charge of Disney, that was the stretching border of like, this is a kids movie. It's kind of like, let's bring kids to see this movie. And then all of a sudden you've got Eddie Murphy's face, which is peeling off. And you probably have a lot of parents in the theater that are like, excuse me, this is Disney? Because I remember seeing that part in theaters, and I remember my mom having to grab my hand and sit me down because I tried to get up and book it out of the theater. It scared the shit out of me. And rightfully so. That particular scene probably was the scariest, and it looked good. Now, given you look at a zombie like today, we don't get a lot of animated zombies. Now, if this film were done today, that probably would have been a pretty good makeup job. I'm not looking at Greg Nicotero, but I'm looking at Greg Nicotero. That would have been a good makeup shot there. But honestly, a lot of the things in this film that I think could have been saved using practical effects rather than animation. There's a lot. Some of them you could tell, like the skeleton horse. How else are you going to be able to do that? Unless you wanted to go old Tim Burton style, where you get claymation, which I think that would have been really cool to do. Would be claymation, stop motion, not claymation, but stop motion style. Still pretty good. It doesn't necessarily hold up to this day. The practical effects, I think, are fantastic and hold up no matter what. Those zombies were magnificent. Not a single one of them animated. All of them either puppets or someone in costume and makeup. They looked awesome. Disney knows how to do their zombies, in my opinion.
Yeah, Jeremy, how about you? You're kind of the special effects expert here with all the cosplay and the stuff that you do around the spooky season. I mean, does the stuff hold up for you?
I was gonna say, Gamer at least will know. With that crypt scene, it's like that's definitely some Skyrim vibes. You go into a Draugr cave, and that's exactly what happens. They all start crawling out of the walls, and they're just coming right at you.
Connected those two, I like that.
I was thinking like, wait, this is Skyrim. You go in a Draugr cave, and they're all lined up in this mausoleum. And they all start falling out of the walls and coming at you. Son of a bitch. But yeah, honestly, it's like I know it's 2003, kind of like computer effects, and I know he made a good point with Jurassic Park, but it's like computer effects are still trying to get their legs, and I know it's not the best, but like I said, this movie has plenty of practical effects and set design that will make up for it. It's like it's not too distracting. Like I know Jennifer Tilly's not really in a glass ball in a green smoky haze, I get it. There's something that you layer over, like they probably have like a glowing light or an orb for the kids to like, that's your mark, you follow that, and then like, okay, we're gonna make it look like a ghost ball, but it just depends on who makes the movie and who's doing the effects and crap. Because I'm like, my biggest comparison is like you can take a movie like The Birds from the 60s. That movie still holds up really well, and it's like they're fake birds. It's like Jaws. It's not a real shark, but it holds up and it's still terrifying. So how do you tell me in 2010 when someone decides to make this stupid movie called Burndemic, I'm like, that looks awful. You're getting your ass kicked by a movie that came out like 60 years prior. I mean, I get it. Different budgets, different. I mean, they're no Hitchcock. I understand that, but yeah, it's pretty well done, and that's the sad part is like now since Gamer's even with me on this one, we've worked in a haunt. It sucks when you go to other haunts because I'm like, I hate that I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Oh, that's a cool set design. Oh, I like that light. That's really cool. And after it tries to pop out, like, nah, I didn't get my face. I don't care about you. Go away.
I don't even work in a haunted house, and I do the same thing, dude. I completely understand.
I know. It's like yeah, you're just kind of like, that's adorable. Okay, whatever. I ain't looking at you. Go away.
Right. Yeah. Right.
Good job, good hustle, good hustle. I mean, good scare, but
I walked
whatever.
to a good haunted
Please
house.
scare me, like almost actually attack me so I can actually get scared. Please almost kill me.
Yeah, I'm like
For me, you have to go to that level. You know what I mean?
yeah, I hate that I'm kind of desensitized, but like really, that's because like you said, that's the thing I look for is like the effects and set designs and things like that. That's what interests me, and it gives you ideas. I like what they did for this movie, like even down to like they got cobwebs on everything. Everything feels really lived in. I noticed something that I'm like, I don't know if it's continuity or if it's like this could have been the first take, but when Eddie Murphy slides that big mausoleum like top off that grave, I'm like, you can tell there's like fingerprints, like it's dusty, but like there's no like additional prints. It looks like it's just that first time he touched it and pushed it off. I'm like, either you did that between takes, which I mean, hey, good job to that guy, or that was really the first take that he did and made it convincing. I'm like, just little details like that I notice now. No, I think it's in that weird sweet spot. Like I said, it's 2003, but practical effects more than make up for it.
Yeah, there wasn't anything about the special effects that bothered me. I mean, are they afraid of spiders?
I'm not afraid of spiders, but like,
well, those are fake. If you put a bunch of real ones on, you'd probably have a different reaction. But
somebody will die today. Like no.
Yeah, look again. The special effects are awfully dated, but again, as I'm watching, I'm taking into account the fact that it came out in 2003 and modern, as we sit here 20 years later, special effects have kind of taken some pretty big leaps. There have been some pretty good advances. So I understand that they're not going to be to today's standards. And just watching on that, I enjoyed it. There was nothing that jumped out at me as being obviously bad. So just the way the movie was paced, the way it was cut and all that. I mean, if there was some stuff in there that they weren't happy with the way it ended up, they managed to edit around it in a way that it's not overly noticeable, which is fine by me. Yeah, I wasn't bothered at all by the special effects. I mean, look, it was, at least it's a 20-year-old movie. That's like us going back to like Nosferatu that's literally 100 years old or something like that, being like, these effects suck. It's like, well, yeah, compared to the movies that I've watched for the last 40 years, yeah, they suck.
Hey.
But I mean, when people were in the theater watching Nosferatu, they were losing their damn minds at those weird like fades and cutaways. They were like, "Oh my god, it looks like it's really happening." So I mean, think about where you're at in time. You know what I mean?
If you want to talk about Nosferatu, the scariest shot in that film, you don't even see him, is when he's coming up the stairs. And all you see is the shadow of him. It's like, oh my god, like Satan himself is about to come get me. That is the most frightening shot in that whole movie. That should be a poster on my wall. I love that picture so much.
Know that a shape can be scarier than anything else.
Right.
Well,
I mean, what's in the shadows?
Michael Myers, he's the shape, man. He's scary.
Right.
Well, and even back then, dude, they had like some wild technology. I don't remember what movie it was, but it's like they did a practical in-camera effect. And of course, it's like you play with the fact that, I mean, you have black and white film. That's all you have. But they used this makeup on this woman's face to like, they do like a transition from like her normal face to like a scary face in like one shot. And it's because they painted like two different colors of makeup on her face. So it's like the effect is to like different like light. So it's like part of her face is blue and then like part of her face is red or some shit. And then when the red shows up, it makes her look all like scary and shit. And I'm like, that just blows my mind. That was like 100 years old. I'm like, how do you think of that? It's wild. Something as simple as that, but it's so effective. Like I wish I could remember what the movie was, but like if you've seen that effect, it's just, I'm like, how in the hell? And then I'm like, oh, it's a camera trick. Jesus.
Yeah, let's talk for a minute about this upcoming remake, though. I mean, again, I don't know much about the remake. I'm kind of reading a little bit about it right now, but I'll go to you first. Jeremy. I mean, what are your expectations for this remake? Because in a little bit of reading I've done about it over the last few minutes, it is going to be a pretty big departure from the movie that we watched for this review. Do you think it's going to be do you think it's going to be received the same way over time as this movie has been?
I don't know, and I really wish you hadn't asked me first. I'm like, I'm going to go look this clip up. And I'm like, well, I'm in the middle of that. I'm like, sure, question I have an answer for. I don't know. I've been kind of not actively avoiding, but I've been kind of avoiding anything about what this movie, what the story is. So I kind of want to go in surprised, but I don't know because I am curious again, like what this new movie is going to be about. I can't imagine it's not the same story. This is something new, probably a little more original. Hopefully, I mean, maybe I know it's going to make Gamer happy, but probably a little more faithful to the ride. Like we're seeing the Hatbox Ghost and stuff that we didn't probably get to see in this movie. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting just on its own. Hopefully, hopefully it's not like me and Texas' favorite Texas Chainsaw movie where these kids are going to go up and buy this new house and make it something real nice and pretty for the area. I don't think it's going to do that, but yeah, I don't know. It should still be fun.
I don't know, Broody Gamer, what do you think? I mean, you are obviously a big fan of this franchise. I mean, what are your expectations? Because you're kind of the target audience. So I'm wondering, do you think this movie is going to kind of live up to the cult status that this original film from 2003 has kind of achieved?
Unfortunately, I have to say, as big of a fan as I am, I don't think it will, because I have watched a lot of, one of the biggest things I do when a new trailer for this movie drops, I go to the comments and I read what a lot of people have to say, because obviously a lot of people watching the trailer and going to see this movie are people who are wanting to relive the ride from their own homes or from their local theater. And a lot of people are just looking at this as, well, Disney's going with another horrible remake, and a lot of people are calling it a remake, and it's not. It's, in a way it is, and in a way it's not. It's its own thing. It's not, Eddie Murphy's Haunted Mansion, which a lot of people have coined to calling the older one, but it's definitely a movie like, it's not something that I think a lot of horror fans are going to enjoy. As my fiance, she loves scary movies. She loves horror movies. However, this is one movie she has looked at me dead in the face, said, I will not go and see it. I do not care. I have no interest. I forced her to ride the ride with me. What was it, hun? 3 or 4 times when we were in Disney a few months ago. And
again.
And mainly, it's just, I think it's going to be one of those. I hear Jeremy on my headset over here going again. I think it's going to be one of those. I will definitely, October 1st, it'll be Haunted Mansion and then Haunted Mansion that I watch in order. I'm looking to have at least one moment where I jump and go, oh, okay, that actually got me. Or something where, as someone who, I've loved the ride so much, I've ridden it so many times that I can point out all the little hidden characters that I can go, hey, there's the mummy from the cemetery where he's drinking tea, or hey, there's the just a little skeleton hellhound, which I never knew was even on the ride until what was it, this past couple months when I went and read it again. There's like a little skeleton dog that's just howling with the band as they're playing the Grim Grinning Ghost song. I look for things that make me go, hey, that's that, or hey, that's this. I can even go on that ride in this film, if there's even a little bit of a nod to the first movie. I'm not asking for, I'm not asking for them to name drop Eddie Murphy's character, but maybe have like a sign that says Evers and Evers. Was it Realtors, Jeremy?
Yeah, real estate. Yeah.
Realty or Realtor. Oh, for God's sakes, I quit. If that would be just enough of me go, hey, okay, cool. Because obviously this movie takes place more on the Disneyland Haunted Mansion, and it is literally the Disneyland mansion itself. And then you have the Disney World Haunted Mansion, which is a complete different build. And with the Eddie Murphy film, they combined the two. It's like a Haunted Mansion California and Haunted Mansion Orlando, all at the same time. So I don't think this movie will be very well received, unfortunately, because people these days they set everything up for failure, especially with Disney. They don't have the best track record right now with making new products. They're too busy remaking things. And I do unfortunately think it's not going to hit very well, but it's still it's something I know I'm excited for. I know Jeremy's excited for it. So it's going to be I'm still excited nonetheless. It's good to see the Hatbox Ghost come back for the first time ever, actually, in cinematic universe. I mean, fun fact, he was on the ride in Disneyland when it first opened for, I think, a week or two, and then the animatronic malfunctioned. He was off the ride for the longest time, and he just got put back into the mansion, I want to say back in 2012 or 2013. I could be wrong. And then we're actually closing the mansion in Orlando right now to add the Hatbox Ghost animatronic to the attic scene of Orlando's ride for the first time ever. So that's cool, and to see him, that's a character that's always been very hidden. He's just a ghost in the attic with a hat box. There's no story to him. There's no who's this, who's that. And now for the first time, they've given this guy not only a character in the film, but he is the main bad guy of the entire film. So they're really like hitting home with a character and giving him a story that he's never had. So that's something I'm very interested to see.
Yeah, Tex, how about you? I know that I'm not entirely sure you're going to get a chance to watch the movie before we review it. I know we talked about it, but I mean, what kind of expectations do you have from this film? I know that you're like really hardcore horror, but I mean, do you think you can turn your brain enough towards the more Disney-fied style scary stuff to have some expectations about this film?
I got to be honest here, and maybe this because I think the disconnect from Gamer and Jeremy and myself's viewpoints on this, I'm kind of on the other side because I didn't like my entry level into the spooky stuff was, you know, the Halloweens. Hell, I saw Exorcist at like 6 years old. I was very young. So I started out like up here. I didn't need to go back down to see a lot of these things. So for me, I guess that's why I'm not downgrading the value of a movie like this because I feel it's important to, you know, it's like you said, this movie, you know, plays for the kid-friendly, you know, family stuff during Halloween, which there's, you know, that has its space, that has its role. But for me, I don't really, I mean, I don't really have an urge to see this in theaters like Gamer had said about his, you know, his other half or whatever. I don't really care to see it in theaters. Well, for review purposes, sure. But I won't even be here on Tuesday when it's reviewed, so it's kind of a moot point. But as far as the remake goes, I don't really care. I mean, I watched the trailer. I saw what it was. You know, the minute I saw Jamie Lee Curtis, I automatically gave it less of a grade because my feelings on Jamie Lee Curtis have been made very apparent on this show. But you know, hopefully she gets like exercised and goes to hell or something. Then I might be happy with her role. But I don't really care.
Saying you want her in the new Exorcist movie?
Jeremy, don't make me hate you. Like, you're going a good way. You keep that up. Just saying. I already have enough problems with this new Exorcist coming out. I can't wait till we talk about that when I have thoughts. But I don't really care. I mean, about the remake. The one thing that has me interested is Jared Leto is in this new movie. He's playing somebody. I don't know who he's playing. But
he's
I'm
playing
a fan
the
of
main
Jared.
bad guy. He's playing the Hatbox.
Oh, is he?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he's just the voice.
Well, crap. Okay, never mind. I was really hoping because I like his Joker. I like a lot of the things that he's done. That's the one thing out of everything that excited me out of all of it. I don't like Owen Wilson. Danny DeVito's, you know. The cast doesn't excite me. The plot is like, I'm not a Disney person. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just not for me, you know. And you know, it's another Disney remake. Disney's on a bad streak right now. They have no new, you know, creative ideas. So, let's redo this, but you know, change the sex and the race and the, you know, the sexual persuasion of the person. And look how creative we are. That's kind of what Disney's been doing for the last decade. But I mean, just look at their Snow White. I mean, I hope we talk about that one day because, good God, that looks like a mess. But I'm not really excited for this. Got to be honest with you. So
I forgot all about.
I found the clip. Put it in the chat below. You're welcome. I'm sorry. It's from a movie from what? Do I have to?
I was gonna say. I love the dramatic side that comes out when you're in costume. Guys,
Hey,
like, are you Willy Wonka right now? Is that what you're going for? I dig it.
do I look like Timothy Chalamet? No, probably, but don't answer that.
More like
you should.
Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doolittle, but you know,
You're
working-
don't talk about that either. Tex, you should see me when I'm in full costume for a little haunted cave, a little devil action. You'll like that. Anyway,
The dramatic,
I found,
the theater side comes out. It's all good.
like I said, I actually wore this as when I was doing a different act in the cave. So, well, I had a half skull mask, and I look like Dr. Facilier. Like,
that's cool.
So many people said I look like the dude from Princess and the Frog, and I was like, no, but okay, sure. I get it.
My friends on the other side, you said that.
I've said some crazy shit to people, but no, I found the clip. It's in the comments down below. It's from a movie from 1937, and it's like it shows the transformation like in camera, like in shot, and then he explains it. Like I said, it's kind of like a red filter, blue filter, like a 3D lens, but like they did it just in the middle, and like they made the way the makeup's put on this woman's face is to make it look like whoosh, like transforms in mid sentence or whatever. It's wild.
Now, real quickly though, I did see that Rick Baker worked on this movie. Is that the same Rick Baker from horror fame that's done so many creature effects?
Hey, Rick Baker is a goddamn yes, a goddamn.
It's just that I saw his name and I'm like, ooh, wait a minute. Okay, I didn't. I don't know everything Rick Baker's ever done, but he's done a lot of cool stuff, and I was surprised to see his name attached to it.
Well, he did the Joe Rogan podcast a year and a half ago or so, and as soon as I saw that one drop, I stopped what I was doing to listen to him talk about.
I didn't know I'm gonna go back and listen to Joe Rogan. I'm a big Rick Baker fan. He's up there with the Savinis and the Nicoteros for work that he's done in film. That dude's a legend.
One of my favorite things to watch is the making of the video of Michael Jackson's Thriller, because Rick Baker did all the zombie and special effects for that.
Yeah.
You can go on YouTube. Yeah. It's free to watch on YouTube, the making of Thriller. Just go find it and to hear him talk and stuff like that. He even made himself up as a zombie, was doing stuff. You get to hear him talk about the effects and stuff like that when he was just really hitting the prime of his career in the early 80s. Oh, God, it's so great. It's just amazing to hear him talk.
Well, the ghost in this film alone, it's with the original Haunted Mansion. It was just people, which, I mean, I watch the making of any movie I watch because, well, if it's if it's Disney or something like that, especially the Jurassic Park, I think I've watched all the makings of those movies 1,000 times over. But Haunted Mansion, honestly, was one of my favorites just because it went over my cat's about to knock a bowl right off the table. I'm just waiting for the loud noise. So if you hear it, that's stop being a dick, dude. Binks, Thackeray, stop it.
It's ghosts.
The ghosts in the Haunted Mansion for Eddie Murphy, they were just people with special effects added onto them afterwards. Now with the new one, that's where Rick Baker is coming into this, is each ghost has their own look, and they're not just, let's just throw some blue and white on this person's face and then add all the swirlies later. Each person has there's a woman in there, the bride. I don't think she's supposed to be Constance Hatchaway. I think she's just a bride. She does have the axe, so it's supposed to be her. But she's all sunken in cheeks and kind of mummified. The best way I can describe the ghost in this is the horrible Ghostbusters movie, the women one. The only thing about them I liked were.
What are you talking about? I've never heard of this before. A woman Ghostbuster?
What you about?
You didn't see the special DVD set? There was 3 movies in that thing. There wasn't 4.
No, you must be high or having a fever dream because that never happened. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's all that Baja Blast. The only thing that movie did right, in my opinion, were the design of the ghosts themselves, the occasional flicker of the skeleton underneath. They did awesome jobs with those. And that's the first thing that this film reminds me of when I look at the ghost in it are the ghosts from that Ghostbusters movie. And I love that style where they have their character. You can tell who they are by looking at them. You can tell, okay, that's a bride. But the thing is with the Haunted Mansion, is you're not going to have just a bunch of ghosts in Victorian clothing. There are ghosts from all sorts of different time periods. You have a headless knight, you have a pirate, you have a mummy, a pirate, a minstrel. There's even a headsman where he wears the hood over his head and he only shows his eyes. There's even one of those in there. It's just like this. The thing is, when this ride was built, Walt Disney said, we've traveled the world and we've gone to different corners of the planet and we've invited as many ghosts as we can from many cultures so that everybody from any culture can go on that ride and go, oh, hey, that's a knight, obviously, whatever. But everybody's going to have some sort of a tie to the ride or to the film. And that's something that I noticed that this movie's going to do correctly, at least, is bringing all those random ghosts instead of every ghost just being somebody in a suit and tie or in a dress or whatever, just floating around being creepy. There's just all these weird, kooky looking spirits. And along with normal ghosts that you would see out of some Spirit Halloween Child's Isle, where it's just a typical ghost with a sheet on, because there are ghosts like that on the Haunted Mansion too. It's just they look great. Rick Baker did an amazing job with the makeup and everything for this film, and every ghost has a unique look. And there's a lot of ghosts in this. Obviously there's 999 of them, but a good portion of those are actually going to be able to be seen. But there's a lot. The only spirit they have not shown so far was Captain Gore, which was going to be the original main bad guy of the ride itself when it had a story. And it's a big pirate captain. So if he doesn't look like someone from Pirates of the Caribbean, I'll be sorely disappointed. But
somebody get Johnny Depp on the phone.
You don't know.
He likes to be in the rides, damn it.
This movie has a lot of random cast members that I'm like, where's Winona Ryder in this? And I still don't know who she is. If she's Constance Hatchaway, I'll be extremely excited. But you've got her. It's ridiculous who they've gotten for this film.
She herself is strange and unusual.
I can tell you who she is if you really want to know.
No.
Okay. I won't tell you that.
I'm going in blind. I'd like to be surprised. So.
Yeah, I've tried not to read too much about it either, because my expectations for this film are, like I said, Disney does not have a good track record lately, and it's unfortunate. But I want the film to be good, so I'm just going in there hoping, like I said, like most movies, I just want to be entertained for an hour and a half or 2 hours. If it does that, I will walk out of there with a fairly positive view of the film, unless they do something really stupid, which, Disney's prone to making some weird narrative decisions the last several years. If they lean a little bit too much towards whatever diversity or blah, 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 girl power, I want it to work for the story. Ultimately, that's what I want. If it's stuff that works for the story, I'll walk out of there probably fairly entertained by the film. But if they pour that kind of stuff on too thick, then they're gonna. Like I said, that's where Disney goes wrong when they stray too far from their formula. And when they stray too far from their formula, that's usually what they're going for. Is they're going for this forced whatever to try to fit in with whatever PC nonsense they like to support. And I just want you to make good movies. Female characters, black characters, I don't care. Make good movies. Don't make me worry about diversity. I'm concerned with story more than anything else.
Don't make me realize that you checked off you check marked a box.
Yeah, the only box you need to check off for me is good story.
Yeah,
good writing.
Right up
after that, I don't care.
Frank, I've got bad news. I just got an email from Disney from their offices. You've just been canceled for that comment. You're not worried about their diversity. You can't go see their films anymore. I'm sorry.
Like anybody from Disney knows I exist anyway.
I've got the email. It's right here. I can show you, but
I got a copyright strike on my Disney channel, so they know I exist at least.
That's fair.
Then you've been canceled too. You can't go see it either. So, sorry.
If I try to show up to Frank's house in a Mickey Mouse costume with a shotgun, I don't think I'm going to win that fight. So,
hey,
he'll drop me before I get across the yard. So I don't think I want to do that.
I'll pull out a lightsaber and kill Mickey with his own weapon.
He's gonna be whistling Steamboat Willie the whole time while he just beats my ass in the fucking road with a lightsaber.
Stuff a bunch of cheese down his throat and be like, "What now, mouse?"
Hey, I'll put on a Winnie the Pooh outfit and get my axe out and get some blood and honey going, and we can just get the trifecta.
Hey,
I mean, it'll be great.
Winnie the Pooh canonically had a gun. He was protecting his honey. Damn it!
He did.
I
damn it.
thought he had an axe.
But let's get into some of the trivia now that we've pretty much given you our basic review of the film. Let's see. Eddie Murphy had developed, anybody who's seen his stand-up from the early 80s will remember this. Eddie Murphy had developed a stand-up routine lampooning the unrealistic premise of horror movies, specifically haunted houses. In Eddie Murphy Delirious in 1983, he suggested that black people would never feature in such a movie because they would leave as soon as they saw anything supernatural. If Eddie could have looked forward about 25 years, what would he have said? I swear, Delirious and Raw are two of the funniest stand-up routines I have ever seen. Like, the whole stuff about Mr. T being gay was so funny.
One of them's free on YouTube right now, so I think it's Raw. So go watch it.
Yeah,
it's free.
Raw and Delirious, they're just outrageous. They're like Richard Pryor level good. Like when he was doing like on the Sunset Strip and all that, they're really just about that good to me. But I mean, I love my comedy stand-up stuff. I love to watch these guys. But some more interesting trivia. Jerry mentioned this already. Marsha Thomason was only 27 years old at the time of filming and plays a character who has a 13-year-old daughter and a 10-year-old son.
And Eddie Murphy was like 52 or some shit in this movie. I'm like, hold up. I'm mathing some math here. Okay. No, I mean, I'm not saying they don't both play the part pretty well. They don't really look their age, but I'm just like, to see, now I'm like removed. Like now I'm like 30 and I'm looking at her and I'm like, she's 27. I'm like, good God, woman, what? And they both still look good for their age now. Shit, he's 62, she's 47.
Yeah, he's 62 now, so that would have put him at about 42 when this movie came out. So it's not.
I'm sorry, 42. My bad.
Outrageous, but still, I mean, she was 27. He was.
I know gamers probably well versed in the whole fact that Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler actually have a pretty big age gap, but semantics.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah.
I'm just saying, I don't know. But that's the point. The chemistry works. I believe wholeheartedly that those two are like, a married couple real estate team, and they know how to play off each other really well. And even when they're talking, they know they know what they're doing. Like she calls him in the middle of like selling a house, and he's like, "Oh yeah, this house is for sale." She's like, "Cool, so I'll see you at 7 for dinner." Yeah, 7's great. And then he's like, "I got the sale."
Are you pre-approved?
Right.
Because of this,
Yep.
me and my mom do this all the time. The happy anniversary song,
Oh,
where
God damn you!
anniversary. We do that all the time.
I hated those people. I hate singing for no reason.
I love
and
the act.
those,
So
they were horrible.
With Discount Regis Philbin. Who is that guy? I have seen him so many times.
He typically plays he never does typically play a nice person. So it was interesting to see him in this just super Hawaiian shirt, happy-go-lucky guy, all of a sudden super obnoxious. But yeah.
We know those people though. That's the problem. Is like that couple. We've seen them.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh shit.
I'm trying to find this one piece of trivia that's going to go very well with what you guys said. I think it might have been towards the top of this thing.
One thing I meant to mention to her when we just watched this, I don't know why. I think even as a kid, I noticed it. It's really weird. The thing that Eddie Murphy, when he gets thrown out by Terence Stamp, and he like breaks off that pillar, that little like weird spiked pillar, and he goes to like break the window. Not like, the reason why it's distracting is about a minute later, you see Terence Stamp in his ceremonial getup. That little symbol on his like robes is the same damn shape as that club that he was using to break the window. I don't know why that always just stood out to me. And even now, 20 some years later, I'm like, why is that the same shaped? It's weird. Just, I don't know. Huh. If I have to see it, you have to see it. I'm ruining it for you now.
Well, here's a piece of trivia that goes right along with what you guys were just talking about. The two people whose home was just sold start singing "Happy Anniversary," and Jim reacts very annoyed. That's a reference to a radio ad for Disney's anniversary, sung the exact same way by a child. Listeners reacted so badly that Disney quickly pulled the ad from airing.
I like that.
Well, in the words of
I think I vaguely remember that now.
Of Bill Clinton from Family Guy. Well, if you can't laugh at yourself,
I just want to love to know what that is. I hear they're incredibly smooth.
Yeah, don't be a wiener and get a ginger ale at the bar. What kind of drink is that?
No, so you talk about everybody knows that couple, and I keep going back to the couple that he's selling the house to, and just the bickering back and forth of just super random shit that nobody cares about. It's like, well, this doesn't have enough plugs. It's like, yeah, and the other one had 2 stairs. Well, yeah, when we get older, we could trip. It's just like that one husband that always has, but to it. And I just, growing up now, being 28 years old, I look at that and I'm like, oh God, I know those people. I know people like that. What the hell?
Well, when we watched SpongeBob growing up, we all wanted to be SpongeBob, but we all realized, no, we're Squidward.
Yep, exactly. But I think honestly, this is one of those. This movie has been one of my, I have a list of movies I'll watch throughout October. Some of them are actually scary. Some of them aren't even Halloween related at all. I have Deep Blue Sea and Lake Placid on there, for God's sakes. When you think of horror, it's not always just necessarily a guy with a machete or claws or whatever. It can be the thing that literally does exist and scares the shit out of us. Sharks,
cocaine bear.
Or
bears exist. Cocaine exists.
Yeah, cocaine exists, and so do bears.
Now, they're all real things that might exist together someday. You never. They existed together at one point. That's why
I know.
But we'll have to review Cocaine Shark during Shark Week if we're doing that.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Or
I've seen the footage of that cocaine shark. It looks bad. It looks really, really, really bad.
Dude, see this shot right here. That's what I'm talking about. The drip. I would wear that shit every single day.
Is that a pocket watch? Does this motherfucker have a pocket watch?
He has a pocket watch, dude. He's got it.
Here's the problem.
That's a look. Don't.
I live in the South. I'm about an hour away from the Louisiana border. I know the heat, the humidity, even in October in the South. There is no way you wear that on a daily. You lose 10 pounds a day just from sweat. I call bull crap.
That's why he looks so damn good. I mean, also he's dead, but he looks good.
I'm just saying, having to wear that every day.
Awesome.
No. It's like, okay, we're hacking the sleeves off of this, and we're doing whatever here. But
200 years ago, you didn't have AC either. I'm just saying, they had some class. You can't tell people don't dress like that. You need to talk about them dresses they wore in the South. You've seen Gone with the Wind. Holy shit, son.
One thing I want to point out Master Gracie, I can never remember his actual name. What was it? The actor?
The actor.
Nathaniel, give me a second. I'll pull it up again. Let's see. Not Terence Stamp. Was it Nathaniel Parker?
Nathaniel Parker. The one thing about this guy that I had to say, he killed this role, because I know we've gushed about him being Master Gracie. He did great. Is every single time he's done talking, you're left still asking more questions. He never answers a damn thing. Everything is always like, okay, but what does that mean? Or why is he? And he would have been great for a Clue movie, honestly. If they were, he would have been fantastic, because the way he talks is so charismatic. And the way, just talking about, when you say, the heart beating within the walls, that just the way he describes that, the way he talks, always leaves you more interested to hear what he's going to say next. And you don't get that with a lot of people in movies these days. He kind of reminded me a lot. I actually saw something say that the way that Master Gracie was the equivalent to an amazing book. The more you read, the next, you're like, okay, what's the next page going to tell me? What's on the next page after that? And the more he talks, you're like, okay, keep going, because I'm in. The way he just describes the house, he doesn't describe it as it's got good plumbing, and I can tell you how quick it takes the toilets to refill. No, it's just he
And you know they
describes,
got dead people in the backyard.
yeah, describes the house as a living entity, and the stories. I could hear this mofo talk all damn day and still not get tired of it. So I think I wanted to reiterate how up of a job he did in this film. He stole it to be.
He's a very eloquent speaker, which I think, especially in the last part of the movie, is very, very important. I love people who speak like that. That just you can give them some very base dialogue, but the way they deliver it, just the tone of their voice, their elocution, it makes very average dialogue sound so much better. That's one of the things I've always liked about Downton Abbey. It's it's a bit stuffy, but I just love to hear British aristocracy speak about stupid shit like paintings and going to play cricket down at the pitch. It's something. It's my own personal kind of like ASMR thing. You know what I mean?
Oh God,
I'm the opposite. Every time I hear somebody speak British or whatever, all I can think is, "Ha ha, we beat you in a war." That's the only thing I can ever hear when I hear that.
But it makes you happy.
No! See, I don't know what I don't trust the British accent. They always sound like they're plotting something for some reason. Maybe it's because I've seen so many films where they're the bad guy or the villain or whatever. But that's been programmed into my mind. What are you doing here? I gotta watch out for you. So.
It's funny
you without Olivia Colman, this entire limited series of Secret Invasion. I tell you what, man, she stole that entire damn series. I love to watch her work. That British accent, she sounds like Mary Poppins, but she's just shooting people in the head. It is so hilarious. It's such a killer watch.
After the second episode, I tapped out on that. I don't even know. I know some spoilers, but I don't really care. I didn't even keep up with it. So.
Now, Tex, it's funny you say that because there is somebody I watch on YouTube. It's a British guy. And they're getting into a new game with some people, and this person hasn't met him yet, and she's like, "Oh, you're British too? That's so cool." And he's like, "Yeah." Or she's like, "I like your accent." He said, "Thank you. It's been perfectly crafted over a couple hundred years to lull you into a full sense of security." I'm like,
"Yeah, that's what I'm saying."
He gets the joke. He knows.
I always feel like they're plotting something. They have a hairless cat that they pet and plot my doom or something. So I don't know what it is, but
it's also my namesake. Do I have to say it's Tuesday, isn't it? I need to have it as an outro or an intro or some dumb shit. I'd just be like, "Oh, it's Tuesday, ain't it?"
Now you need a bowler hat.
I have a bowler hat in there. It doesn't fit my giant melon, but yeah. It was for the Clockwork Orange review. Damn it, I'm waiting.
Well, we'll get around to it.
Sit there with a glass of milk, son.
But moving on to some more trivia real quick before we start to get down this whatever weird rabbit holes.
Squirrel moment.
Yeah. Following the massive success of Ghostbusters in 1984, Disney greenlit the film in the mid-1980s. At first, they would only give permission for the film to be made if Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, or Rick Moranis would play the lead role. Here's my problem with that. I can't quite see Dan Aykroyd. I don't think Harold Ramis would have done it because I think he always fancied himself more of a writer than an actor. I mean, because we think about it, he never carried a film. He was just there. I mean, Stripes, some other things. He was very much a supporting actor. He let Bill Murray and the guys do the rest of the stuff. Bill Murray would have made it a very different movie. But honestly, I think it would have been really funny to see Rick Moranis do this back in the mid-'80s. Rick Moranis is a talent. I can never see enough Rick Moranis on screen ever at all.
Since we're going to that era, I think Chevy Chase would have been better than any of them if they did it in the 80s.
You see, I don't know about that because at that point, I mean, he'd already done the first Vacation movie. He'd already done Fletch.
Yeah, he'd done a couple of the Lampoon movies or whatever.
I think maybe the bumbling nature of Rick Moranis would have been better than the stoic nature of Chevy Chase.
What about Steve Martin? Steve Martin in the 80s could have been cool.
Yeah, that could have been interesting.
No, I mean, if you want to talk about, I could have seen Rick Moranis being, if you're talking about, the dad character, right? Like, the lead.
Yeah.
Okay, I could see that. And then I'm like, you said Dan Aykroyd. I'm like, Dan Aykroyd could have carried himself as, Mr. Gracie, maybe. A little more,
Now, if you'd have put those three guys in there as ghosts, that would have been pretty fucking awesome.
Oh, my God.
That would have been funny.
That would have been a hilarious Easter egg.
I would love
Yeah.
if one of them to be evil ghost and look at Eddie Murphy and be like, "Who are you gonna call?" It's like,
Well, no, they
Well,
need to
that's what I was
have
gonna ask.
you need to have Egon with the damn trying to drill the hole in his head, and that's how he died for real. He's like, that would have worked if you hadn't stopped me, and apparently it didn't work.
Could y'all see like a rated R version of this? And I know it's Disney; it's not going to happen. But
Yes.
what would a more rated R version of this look like? Something kind of like
You'd have to be careful.
kind of like House on Haunted Hill, the remake in the 2000s, or like a House of Wax remake.
Well, we've already had a rated R horror version of this. We've had Hill House or whatever the hell it is. I mean, there's a million haunted house movies out there. Yeah, there's a million haunted house movies out there. But if you want to take the Haunted Mansion like this and make it kind of a horror comedy, it would end up looking a little bit silly, kind of like Frankenhooker. Maybe not quite that silly, but I mean something more like a Killer Clowns from Outer Space, something like that.
Actually, you know what? Go ahead.
It's interesting that you said that because there is actually, I don't know if Crimson Peak is rated R. I think it may be, or PG-13. It is, well, Guillermo del Toro did it. And a lot of film, and it actually connects to this, because there was at one point going to be a Haunted Mansion film done by Guillermo del Toro, which, I mean, let's be honest, that would have been a good one.
Yeah, he was actually the first director that was attached to this film that's coming out tomorrow. And
he had concept art of the Hatbox Ghost and everything, and he looked like Charles Dickens level of the actual description of the ghost for Charles Dickens' story, Christmas Carol, is terrifying, and it reminds you a lot of that. And when that movie got scrapped, his version of the Haunted Mansion, he ended up, and the only reason I know this was because I watched the making of Antlers, of all things, and he talked about how his movie version or his Haunted Mansion got scrapped because nobody could figure out how to get it correct, and it wasn't. He's a damn good horror director, in my opinion, and writer and all that.
No doubt.
I mean, his house alone tells thousands of stories. But what they ended up doing was, well, that movie didn't work. So he took every bit of that and redid it into his own horror film. And honestly, like he said, like it became Crimson Peak. The ghosts that are in Crimson Peak.
I'll have to look into that. I haven't watched that movie. I'll have to check that out.
That's the one with Tom Hiddleston, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
And the woman who plays Alice from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
The style of the ghost in that movie were going to be a little less grotesque than what they were in this, but some of them, the only ghost that would have stayed the same was like a black, kind of like La Llorona looking style spirit, where all black, kind of floating around, kind of like if you took a Dementor and the Nun and put it together, is what this spirit looked like. That was going to be the style ghost in this movie of his. But for one, they couldn't get it greenlit because his version was a little too dark for what Disney wanted. And that's what the problem was Disney kept going, nope, redo it. Nope, keep doing it, redoing it. And then that's eventually where Guillermo was like, that's it, I'm done. We're done. So he took it, turned it in Crimson Peak. So you watch Crimson Peak, and that is probably going to be the closest horror movie of Haunted Mansion you'll ever get, and it did a fantastic job. Special effects, it was damn good.
What year did this come out?
2010s maybe.
20. I know Tom Hiddleston had already done Loki. He's already been Loki at that point. So I'd say we'll have. I don't know.
Late 2010s maybe mid.
It's good. It's really good. I know my mom watched it.
Let's look into that.
Back when we used to work the cave, if she didn't work that night at the concession stand, she would, get on HBO or whatever and watch a movie. And she had even said, she goes, I think you'll like this. It reminds me a lot of the Haunted Mansion. And then as years went on and I started watching other movies with Guillermo that he did and all that, and then he actually flat out was like, so a lot of Crimson Peak came from the Haunted itself. And it's because that's Guillermo del Toro's favorite ride. He's got an entire section of his house dedicated. And so it's cool that, you know, even this ride alone has fueled. Thanks, Kat. Fueled the gears turning in even his head. So I still hope that they will get a Guillermo del Toro Haunted Mansion, because that alone would have made the film right there.
Well, I do have one more question for y'all.
2015. 2015.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I do have one more question though. You know, we all have significant others. We all have, you know, someone in our lives, right? Are you willing to get cucked out by a dead man who thinks your wife is his wife? Like, are you okay with that? Because
not if my wife. I'd kill.
That depends. Is the house for sale or not? I didn't drive all that way.
I love it.
Well, I'm just saying.
Do you want to get the deed in the end?
If a ghost, if a ghost like sees your woman and like, ooh, hey, you kind of remind me of the woman I knew 500 years ago, so you're mine now, and I'm going to kill your kids and I'm going to throw your husband out of a window. Like, are you going to be okay with that? Or, like, are you just going to stand there and smile stupidly and, you know, try to not look like a moron to your children as their mom is making out with a dead guy? You know?
Well, he comes back with a good comment. He goes, you know, you can kill me. I'll just be kicking your ass for all eternity. I'm like,
I come on the other side, man.
I'm going to whoop your ass for all eternity.
Well, I was going to say, he did have a good response. The kids were like, what the hell? And he's like, he's not really kissing your mom. I'm
He's
like,
not really kissing your mom.
Kind of. But...
It's a couple degrees of separation there, but I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
But let's move on to some more trivia real quick before we start to get too far out of hand. Let's see. Did you know that Anthony Hopkins was actually originally asked to play the part of Ramsley? That would have been kind of interesting.
Oh, man.
Don't get me wrong. I love Terence Stamp in this. I mean, I love Terence Stamp. Anything he wants to get in front of a camera for. But Anthony Hopkins, that might have been interesting.
Oh, that would have been good.
That would have been kind of wild, yeah.
If I have to choose between Zod or Hannibal Lecter, I think I gotta go Hannibal Lecter here. I think that would be cool.
I could see him like doing that unhinged shit. Like he picks him up and says, like, you know, for the last time, good night, Mr. Evers, and just yeets him out a window. I mean,
hello, Eddie Murphy. You know, so
I will livers with a shot of beans.
Hello, Sarah. Yeah,
I thought that was some interesting casting. But, you know, we talked about this actually, I think, before we actually went live. Eddie Murphy is not a fan of this movie and said that it wasn't good. I don't know. I mean, it's like I said, it's average Disney fare. It's average Disney fare.
I just saw that Daycare was on HBO Max. I'm like, you don't think I'm going to watch that again like 30 times? I love that movie too. I don't care how bad it is. Damn it.
People hate it.
I don't. It's kind of like I said, you know, earlier in the show. This is entry level spooky stuff for kids. This isn't the cream of the crop of the horror genre. You know, you're not. I mean, it's like watching an episode of Scooby Doo. They made one format and then they did it a million times, but it always works. You know, it's just one of those things. I mean, obviously, Gamer and Jeremy here love this film. I mean, it was, you know, special to them. It hit them in their childhood. It missed me for whatever reason. I didn't see it until this morning.
Well, and if you think about it, it's pretty outside the what Disney's normal operating procedures are to even show a guy hanging like they did in the opening credits.
Right.
That's kind of,
you see people poisoned, hanging. I mean, a guy gets dragged to hell at the end of this movie, and it doesn't look bad. You know, I mean, it's pretty dark stuff for a PG rating or what G rating or whatever.
Zombies. They look like the ride does not.
Yeah, the zombies.
It has one zombie. I take that back. There is one single zombie on the Haunted Mansion, but still, like I'm telling you that for a kid my age seeing that movie, oh God, I don't remember how old I was. It was 2003. I have to do the math.
I was gonna say we had the same exact birthday. Remember? So
yeah,
not too hard to figure out.
I know my mom, when she took me and my brother to see it, and I'll give my brother with special needs, and he didn't give a shit nonetheless. He was just like, movie. My mom was upset with the way it looked for the fact that she's like, I took my kid to see this, and this is terrifying looking. Like the zombies, the zombie Eddie Murphy. really those were the two scariest things in there design wise. Given, the ending scene could have probably been scary to someone with the dragon, but I mean, the whole time I'm just like, dragon. Like, I didn't care. And then
You would have been.
Realized there was no dragon. But, like,
you would have been 9.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
But, that, I mean, in order, like Tex is right, it was a kind of a stepping stone for me getting into things that were not, that scary. Because Haunted Mansion was the first scary movie I ever watched, and then the next one I watched after that was Van Helsing. If that tells you like the gap, because horror.
I like that. That's a horrible movie, but I love that movie.
Oh,
I adore that film. I will watch that anytime. That's right on the top of my list of good bad movies to watch. Is Van Helsing?
That's fair. That's fair.
I love that movie.
But yeah, I mean, it's still to this day, like, I hope that's one of the things I'm hoping to see tomorrow is just something that I could go, okay, now, like, the design for the Hatbox Ghost, he's creepy. He's not something I'd be like, oh, hell no. Like, if I'd say the creepiest design they've done for him is the guy doing the sketchbook where he shows it and he's like, wow, like that. I like that he used actual concept art for the real Hatbox Ghost as the whatever the police sketch is on him. That was funny. But I'm hoping that I can see something in this movie where I'm like, okay, now that's creepy. That's good. I like what they did there. There's so much potential with this, that with actual scary. I mean, let's do it right, for God's sakes. If we're gonna I remember seeing the first trailer and saying, now that actually looks like it would be like House on Haunted Hill, but with a Spirit Halloween takeover. Like let's make it scary and fun at the same time.
I mean, I went from Universal Monsters to Thriller to this to Cujo. So I kind of had a little bit of a jump there, but yes, that's
around.
That was my gateway, son. I'm just saying. I went from like Haunted Mansion to Cujo at the same age.
They're very similar movies. I get it. They're very similar movies.
Oh, yeah,
but,
totally. Yeah.
But moving on to some more trivia. Let's see. I talked earlier about how Disney does a lot to try to pay homage to the people that really did create Disney, especially in the 50s and 60s. The Gracie family that haunts the Haunted Mansion in the film is named for Yale Gracie, one of the original Imagineers, the Disney designers of the Disneyland ride, which opened in 1969. Although a ghostly Gracie is never officially named in the ride, narration, or press, the name has long been associated with the disembodied ghost hosts in the attraction through fans' speculated narratives. Contrary to popular belief, the ride does not have a definite story.
Well then.
I mean, any thoughts on that, Brooding Gamers, since you're kind of the expert on the ride?
Yeah, well, I mean, the ghost host has always been, I mean, hell, that's what my second YouTube channel, and actually has been kind of my primary channel for a while now. The ghost host has always had so many different personas. He was thought to be the Hatbox Ghost. Then it turned out that on the ride, there is a picture of a guy with a big bulging eye and a noose around his neck. That is the ghost host. And then it turned into that it was Master Gracie. And then he was a raven that he's a spirit, takes the form of a raven throughout the ride, which there is a raven that shows up. He's on the scene with the guy pushing his coffin open, and he's in Madame Leota's seance room. And then he's right there at the end of where you fall backwards into the graveyard. He's right there in a tree. So they originally designed with Walt Disney, actually saying that they wanted this raven to be the ghost host, and he would talk to you originally in a raven voice. And I'm so glad that they stuck with this deep, creepy voice. But he was going to be following you around the ride. So yeah, really the only thing that there is with Master Gracie is the tombstone on the outside, which again is what I've got on the hat. It says Master Gracie laid to rest. And then when you get in the ride, there's a big portrait of a man. He's looks a lot like Jeremy, honestly, without the top hat. And then the portrait slowly decays into a skeleton. I don't believe that's ever actually said whether or not that is Master Gracie, but it's just assumed that is him. But that's literally it. There's no discussion of him on the ride. There is no story. The whole point is you're a guest in this mansion as it's any other day or any other night for these spirits. And every single day is, as they say, a screaming wake. It's every day is a party. Every day is, this is the place where ghosts want to go to hang out and live. So really, yeah, there's no actual story to it. There was never meant to be a story to it. There is lore for absolute days. I know Disney Imagineers have literally started. It's literally like as bad as like Kingdom Hearts lore. If Jeremy would definitely understand.
Oh my God, do not.
There is, I mean, seriously, there's.
If you want to implode my brain, I could try to explain Kingdom Hearts to you, but I don't have. That's even Disney itself too. That's my God.
There is so much.
Head.
Like originally, the story for the mansion was a old sea captain by the name of Captain Gore, who is going to be in the film, owned the mansion, and that's Disneyland's story, or Disneyland's story is Captain Gore. It's not necessarily come down. They don't come out and say it, but you've got Captain Gore. On Pirates of the Caribbean, there are references to Captain Gore, so that they say that those two films or those two rides are connected. You have Disneyland. Disneyland Japan, Hong Kong, whatever. I don't know why. That ride, they don't have a haunted mansion there because spirits to them are not meant to be looked at as joking. It's very spiritual, no pun intended, to them. So their version of the ride is just this weird, wacky Indiana Jones mansion kind of thing where, you know, you're in this museum and all the artifacts are coming to life and coming after you. And it's really cool. And that guy is actually connected in America to a portrait on Jungle Cruise of all fucking things. It's literally all these different characters come together and are connected in some way, shape, or form. And so it's like there is a story, but you have to be one of those people to walk around, and you could tell the Imagineers just had a heyday with this. With, you know, like, oh, we're just literally going to put something that says Master Gracie property on Pirates of the Caribbean, and that's going to blow somebody's mind. And it has sparked lore and debate and stories and all these different things, which Imagineers have confirmed that they're like, yeah, we there is a connection to every single ride on that part of the park throughout the world at different parks. All the mansions are connected. Every mansion is its own entity, no pun intended. And every mansion has its own connection with different rides around it. So it is a really cool thing.
And a little bit more casting trivia. Originally, Don Knotts was cast as the groundskeeper seen at the entrance to the cemetery in the ride. While the character was cut as the script developed, both the groundskeeper and his faithful and fearful dog can be glimpsed among the ghosts populating the cemetery in the film. So a little homage to Don Knotts.
Okay.
I did think this is a lot like the Ghost of Mr. Chicken when I watched this movie. This was like in the vein, very similar. That was one of the, I thought Ghost of Mr. Chicken, the Vincent Price, you know, House on Haunted Hill kind of things. Very much, like I said, an updated version of those movies. It felt very much like that. I saw at least the inspiration was there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Don Knotts was alive when this movie came out. He didn't pass away until a few years after this movie came out. So he was available if they would have wanted him. But
looking at the animatronic, because I'm trying to buy one from Lowe's that they have right now, that is Don Knotts to a T. So I think that he would have been his face and everything he does. I mean, look at the box of the Ghost of Mr. Chicken, the front cover of that DVD. That is literally the same face that the caretaker has. So I love that was even going to be used because he would have made an amazing caretaker.
Yeah, also, you know, we talked about Rick Baker a little bit earlier. The makeup designed by Rick Baker for Ramsley was to make him resemble Boris Karloff in all of his scary films that he made back in the 40s, 50s, and 60s.
I can kind of see that. I can kind of see that, you know, yeah, that makes sense.
I mean, if you look at him, I don't know if I've got a good enough picture, but I mean, this one right here is pretty good. There's a lot of shadow and stuff like that makes his face look hollow, especially when you look at
It's
him.
really the eyes.
Yeah, if you look at him, kind of face on in the camera, you can see there's like his cheekbones draw these long shadows down his face, which make him look zombie-ish, ghost-ish.
Right. Put the main poster up that you had when you first started it. That's a really good, given it is an art design for him, but that does a pretty good job.
Oh yeah.
Of how I didn't realize they have two bust characters, like they actually play a big role in the film.
Yeah,
but
I know so too.
Right.
you guys barely in it, and they both look like they just heard some juicy gossip. Ooh. But Randy, the makeup on him, he's already a skinny guy. He's not a very big guy, and they did a really good job making him look dead.
When you look at the makeup, it's got more of a zombie look than a ghost look to it, which is what I like. It's got like and I don't mean like modern Walking Dead zombie. I mean like white zombie from like the Romero era kind of zombie look to it. Kind of the decrepit, the sunken in features like Frank was talking about and everything. It's got like a retro zombie look to it, like Night of the Living Dead kind of thing.
You straight up could have taken the Mummy, the black and white Mummy film, and just threw a wig on him and be like, "Yep, there's your butler." Be like, I would have fallen for it. Looks good.
It was definitely a throwback to that Universal era of what is a zombie kind of thing. So it worked.
Yeah, another piece of Rick Baker trivia. The film's chief makeup artist, Rick Baker, appears himself in the graveyard scene as a ghost behind a tombstone, using an appearance based on a portrait of the ghost host seen in the attraction.
Huh.
As I recall, I don't know that he necessarily had like a big scene. He had actually done himself up as a zombie and was in the Thriller video as well, I think.
I'm not sure about Thriller, but I know he's done a lot of work.
He probably did. He do anything for Michael Jackson's Ghost music video?
I don't know that he ever worked with Michael Jackson again. I could look up. It actually would be.
I don't think he did. I think Thriller was the only thing. Let me look up. Let's see.
That was a good music video.
I'm just searching Rick Baker.
I'm kind of mad at myself. I didn't think to call myself Grim Grinning Ghost. I'm like, damn it, that would have been perfect.
Oh, now I know what to introduce you as. Grim Grinning Ghost himself.
Selected filmography.
I mean, I was going for Mr. Gracie.
No,
he did some
he
work
did
on The Exorcist.
Wolfman in 22. Let's see, Michael Jackson, 1983. He did the Thriller 3D. Then he did the regular Thriller.
He also worked on
Mighty
Star
Joe
Wars.
Young.
He worked on Star Wars and The Empire Strike Back. American Werewolf in London is the one that really made him famous. The Howling. Let's see. Starman.
Oh, The Howling's great.
Let's see.
He did Planet of the Apes.
Captain EO is the other Michael Jackson thing that he did. That was the Disney ride thing that he did. He did Harry and the Hendersons, Werewolf in 1987-88. He did Coming to America with Eddie Murphy. Gremlins 2, The Rocketeer, good movie. Batman Forever. Sure he wishes he had that one back. He worked with Eddie Murphy. He worked with Eddie Murphy quite a bit. He did The Nutty Professor. He did Escape from L.A. He did Men in Black, Mighty Joe Young.
Videodrome. I didn't know he did Videodrome too.
Yeah,
that's another good 80s horror.
Wild West. He did the Grinch movie with Jim Carrey back in 2000. More Men in Black. Let's see. Curse. He did X-Men: The Last Stand. He was actually a special consultant. He didn't do the makeup. Let's see. He did Tron Legacy, which is underrated. I think it's a much better movie than it gets credit for. He did basically the first 3 Men in Black movies. He did Maleficent, and also he was an actor in Rings. It doesn't have him listed as a makeup artist. It got him as an actor, and then obviously his awards. He won. Let's see. Academy Awards. He won for American Werewolf in London. He won for Harry and the Hendersons. He won for Ed Wood, Nutty Professor, Men in Black, The Grinch, and The Wolfman in 2011, and then a bunch of BAFTAs and a bunch of other awards. So
that movie, I know a lot of people hated The Wolfman.
The Wolfman from 2010 or 2011 or whatever. That's not a bad movie. That's got Anthony Hopkins in it as well. That one's actually pretty good. That was another one
on the steps in that movie where he's like, "If you look at me, you can see I'm quite dead," with the candle in the eyes. I was like, that would have been a great for him as a butler in the Haunted Mansion. Like, you can see I'm quite dead.
Yeah.
Like, creepy.
That Wolfman movie was another attempt to kick off the Universal movies like they did with Dracula Untold and everything else. It didn't land for some. I wish the classic Universal monsters could come back and have a full run like they had in the 30s. I would love to see that happen.
You'd be happy to
but
hear
every time it starts, it just doesn't work.
Yeah. You'd be happy to know that Universal is actually building another theme park. It's like because you have Universal Studios, like it's going to be in Orlando. Florida's getting it all, but they're making a bigger theme park that's bigger than they already have, and there is going to be a whole themed section of this park as the Universal Monsters.
Well, not even just that, but Universal's also putting one in Texas too. So it's supposed to be open in 3 or 4 years. I don't know what the time slate is on it, but Universal is broadening out.
Is in Texas, but they have a whole Universal monster here. And concept alone looks badass. So I think you're going to be very happy if that's the case.
I can't wait for that one to come here. I love Universal. I went to the one in Orlando, and I can't wait to go back. Like, that was one of my favorite places to go. I dug it so much.
Let's see. One more piece of trivia before we start to get the heck out of here is the Hidden Mickeys. Did you guys see them all? Because it's a Disney movie. There's plenty of Hidden Mickeys in a Disney movie. The Hidden Mickeys.
No, I did not.
There are 5 Hidden Mickeys that it had listed on IMDb's trivia page. There might be more, but this is the 5 that are listed. Let's see. The most notable ones, it says, there's definitely more than these 5, are, let's see, the padlock at the mansion's gates. I would imagine that's when they first pull up. The second is when the axe wielded by an animatronic suit of armor nearly hits Jim. A third, which is briefly seen when Ramsley poisons a goblet of wine during the wedding ceremony towards the end. The other 2 hidden Mickeys are the couch in the library and the windows on the doors Jim passes when he's chased by musical instruments summoned by Madame Leota.
Okay.
It's a Disney movie. It's got hidden Mickeys. I honestly wasn't. I don't even look for them in Disney movies anymore.
I didn't even know they did them in Disney movies. I knew they did in other movies.
Really?
They do like Pinocchio and Tangled. Like, they just threw like actual characters and stuff like that in there. But I didn't know I should have known this. I'm very disappointed in myself as a Disney.
No, the only reason why I know that is because in the cinematic masterpiece known as Lion King 1.5, there's a special. I love that movie. There's a special feature
was that the Scar's Revenge? Was that one right, or was that another directed sequel?
No, that's the one with just Timon and Pumbaa.
It's their life.
Okay.
It was basically the Lion King, but from Timon and Pumbaa's perspective, like throughout the whole.
Because we needed that.
Oh,
yeah, we did. So there was a special. I mean, because obviously there's hidden Mickeys in that, and there was a special feature that you turned it on in the menu, and then whenever you noticed one, you'd like hit enter real quick if you knew where it was, and it would like pop up for a second. You'd see it, and then it would like outline it for you or whatever. It would like give you a little cue too to get ready. Like, wait, okay, look for it. And then it would like tally up if you found them all or something. It was really cool, and I never knew that until I watched that movie. And then I was like, oh shit, now I gotta keep a better eye out now for all these Mickeys.
Yeah, they're in all the Disney movies. The first one that I can remember, the earliest one that I know of is the original Tron movie that came out like in 81 or 82, whatever year that was. When they're on that light glider thing, riding that beam of light to wherever they have to go, the topography of the ground underneath them, that's where the hidden Mickey is in that movie. They used to just put like one in a movie. I think now they kind of sprinkle them all over the place in the film. They make them a little bit more obscure rather than having the one big one that might stand out. But that's part of Disney. It's what they do. They're some arrogant bastards. They're like, hey, we've already got your money. We want to remind you of the mouse. That's the whole reason why you guys love us. Is the mouse.
You're in the house, brother.
But that seems like a good place to start wrapping things up. So real quick, I'll go to our special guest, the ghost host. Brief paragraph summing up the movie and your thoughts.
Spooky, kooky fun. Has its flaws, but every movie does, especially a Disney movie these days. Great movie. It's awesome. It's definitely something to introduce your kids to if you want them to enjoy a not so scary but decent Halloween film. Just something to put on for the kids. Will always be a 10 out of 10 for me personally, just because of growing up with it and everything. And that's pretty much my review on that.
Jeremy, how about you? Quick paragraph, just summing up your thoughts on the film.
Yeah, like I said, I could put this on in the background, and I've seen it so many times, but I still enjoy it. I think we watched the first maybe hour of this film just making dinner, but I'm like, I don't need to just be actively watching it. I enjoy this movie because I've seen it so many times, and it's just a weird comfort movie for me that you get in weird little pockets where you watch like a certain movie just over and over, and this was one of them when I was younger. So, and like he said, it's a good gateway. Maybe do that to your kids. Don't do Cujo. Don't be like me.
Wait, so you shouldn't start with horror like I did with Halloween and Exorcist, and
you turned out
all
great,
of those. That's
we're all
I turned
fine
out
here on this
perfect.
panel, aren't we?
I'm awesome.
We're mostly okay.
I don't watch people get hacked to death and enjoy and maniacally laugh because it brings me joy. That's not how I operate at all. It's fine.
Not at all.
It's no big
Let me see your search history of your videos, Tex. I will put that to rest right now. But a good movie. Like I said, you can enjoy it as an adult. I mean, it's a good one for kids, especially if you want to get your kids into some more scary stuff. Maybe kind of ease them into it. Again, don't do Stephen King's Rabid Saint Bernard. So go a little easy on him. Don't do that.
Tex, how about you? Tell us about how you didn't like this movie because there wasn't enough sex, boobs, and murder.
There was absolutely zero nudity in this Disney film, and I'm very disappointed. I like it. I got to give it -5 stars. I'm just, whatever. It's a movie that knows what it is, and it doesn't try to be anything more. I can't fault, I can't hold this film to the standards of, A Night of the Living Dead or something. It's complete different genres, but it's like they said, fun entry horror for kids, something the whole family can watch it in October, and don't take it too seriously because obviously Eddie Murphy even did. So, have fun with it. It is what it is.
He's going to save his family, and in the morning, he's making waffles.
Yeah. He's going to watch his wife make out with a dead guy.
At the lake.
Damn it.
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I mean, it's kind of good quality mid-level Disney. It's what they've made most of their money off of is movies like this. And when Disney kind of stays in their lane and makes movies like this, they do pretty well. This movie is obviously just an hour-and-a-half long commercial for the rides that they have at their theme parks, but I mean, it's entertaining. You get a couple of great actors. You get Terence Stamp involved. You get Eddie Murphy, who himself is a comedic legend. Like I said, was right in the middle of his family-friendly streak of movies that he did. I don't know, the pieces all fell into place for this movie to get made. It's fun. It's a good watch. I don't feel the need to go watch it on a regular basis like I do some movies. But if my kids are scrolling through Disney Plus and they're like, I want to watch this, Dad, I'm like, okay, we'll sit and watch it. We'll order a pizza and we'll watch this movie because it's entertaining. I don't feel like I'm burning a couple hours of my life that I'll never get back sitting and watching it. It's good, entertaining fun. Special effects hold up pretty well considering that it's now a 20-year-old movie or 20-year-old movie as of right about now. It's not bad. You won't hate yourself for watching this movie. And again, it's Eddie Murphy. He's hilarious. There is like the third act is actually kind of exciting. I mean, I was as I was watching, I was like, this is all kind of really fun to watch. There was a lot going on. It was not just the colors and all that and the ghosts and whatnot. There was some good dialogue. There was some decent action. There were some good things about this movie that I think you'll enjoy. Again, it's available on Disney Plus and probably one or two other streaming services somewhere, or I'm sure you can find it in a $5 DVD bin at Walmart if they still have those things. If anybody still buys physical media, I still do here and there. But yeah, that's pretty much our review for the Haunted Mansion that came out in 2003. We'll be back next Tuesday to talk about the new release Haunted Mansion. I know that I will be here, Jeremy will be here, Broody Gaming will be here, Tex will try to be here, but he does have some work stuff that's going to take him away. So if he's not here, I think we've got it covered. So I'm looking forward to what that movie is going to bring, mostly because it's Jared Leto. I love Jared Leto, and he's playing this part, and this part just looks cool.
Yes.
I mean, if Jared Leto is going to be in a movie like this, it needs to be as this. After seeing him as the Joker and knowing how he approaches his craft, it needs to be as this. But yeah, I want to thank all my awesome co-hosts for being here tonight. You guys are awesome. Starting with my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What do you got going on, my friend?
Well, me and Gamer are gonna go see this movie tomorrow, so it'll be a fun review. We'll be back on I think Tuesday, like we said. We'll do these reviews, new movies and whatnot. It's usually early in the weeks, but this is the time right now. We're always here on Thursday, over here on the YouTubes. And I still don't know what to call the social media platform, but whatever. I'm on that thing with the X, the bird, for the artist formerly known as Twitter. I don't know.
Twitter's having a goth phase. I told you this earlier. It's just a phase.
Well, it is in fact the roaring 20s, so I'm here for it. All right. Yeah, I'm on that. That's a good place for updates. Again, I have a Twitch and a YouTube I do absolutely nothing with, but like I said, I was peeking at Kick. That might be a good place to maybe start up, do some stuff. And as I've mentioned several times, I always plug this man right here above me in this panel right here.
You don't have to today. He's here to do it himself.
I know. I'm like, I don't even have to. He's here now. Like I said, as Frank has mentioned before, I like a lot of cosplay and props and things of that nature. So I'll start posting some of that stuff on Instagram once, because there is it's going to sneak up on me, but there's a Comic-Con coming in December that I'm trying to get ready for. So that'll be fun to watch my process of that. He's even said you need to do every time you try to go to a thrift store to find one particular clothing item to wear for an outfit, and it's just infuriating as shit when I go to 5 stores and I can't find a simple leather jacket. How hard was that? I tried to do that for 80 months and it was annoying. But yeah, like I said, I don't even really have to give him too much more introduction. Like I said, I'm in his little universe. I'm his Ian Malcolm in his world, and I guess I'm now the grinning ghost. Maybe
you'll be Master Gracie.
All right, fair enough.
Grim grinning Gracie.
I like it. I need name tags now. That's
hello. My name is.
Hi, my name is what? All right, no, I'm not old. Yeah.
And to our friend, the Shapes of Lone Star State, our man Tex, where can the folks at home find you, my friend?
I don't really do much on Twitter besides retweet the link to this show, so there's no point in follow or X, excuse me. I have to relearn lingo. Thanks, Elon Musk. But yeah, we'll be back, or I'll be back Thursday. I'll be out of town for the first part of the week, but I look forward to being back. And I know there's some Exorcist talk coming soon, and who knows what else is coming. But I will definitely be watching Tuesday as these two nerd out about their Haunted Mansion stuff. So everybody else should go watch too. So I'm more than happy to let Gamer fill in for the show for me because he knows a hell of a lot more about this than I do. So y'all make sure to watch. So it's all good.
And our good friend, the dinosaur expert, Mr. Brooding Gamer, our ghost host. What do you got going on the internet, my friend? Pimp your channel out.
Well, I recently, probably not too long ago, started a Haunted Mansion themed channel called Your Ghost Host. And as my phone's like, you're dying, by the way. No. Why does my phone always dial right at the end? I've started up my new YouTube channel called Your Ghost Host, where I cover as much as I can Disney-wise. But we recently, as of today, I've posted my first Halloween decor hunting video, which I tried to put my own fun little spooky spin on. So that's cool. So for all of you watching, welcome. You're welcome to hop in your Doom buggy and come check out my channel here at the mansion.
Oh.
Maybe I'll dress up like this in one of his hunts. I don't know. You don't know. It's a shared universe. Remember, it's all connected.
It's all connected. Let's see. Thanks to all of you who voted in the poll. 54% of you thought that the 2003 version of Haunted Mansion is awesome. 27% of you thought it was straight poop. That must be Tex and all his other accounts. And 18% of you thought it was man.
Hey, I don't have fixed accounts unlike Casey.
That's actually the first time that straight poop has finished any higher than last. so good job, Tex, you and your fake accounts.
My people, all of my fans know how to vote right because they're very smart people. So they're very good judges of film. You know what I mean? It's all good.
Yeah. As for me, you can find me here a couple nights a week breaking down one movie or another, especially this is going to be probably primarily a review channel moving forward. There might be some news here and there, but with pretty much 80% of Hollywood on strike right now, there's not really a whole much to talk about except for what's not happening in Hollywood. So we're probably just going to make this mostly reviews moving forward with the occasional video here and there. But you will be able to, let's see, Saturday I've got some stuff going on. I may actually do some vlogging. So at some point Sunday or maybe even Monday, you'll probably see a little bit of vlog action from me. I don't do that very often. I don't like walking around in public places with my camera out here, doing the whole talking to the camera thing, but it's going to be a fun day, I think. J-Man from KC is going to be here. We're going to hang out a bit. So you can so look for that as well. And thanks to all of you for coming and hanging out. We very much appreciate it. We'll see you on Tuesday for the Hollywood Mansion review with three of the awesome guys that you can see on your screen right now. We will see you later on. Adios. So real quick, guys, body count. What's the body count of this movie?
999.
According to IMDb, of course.
There was only one body that counted. That was.
But there's always room for
the wife's body is the only one that counts. She was not. Nobody else mattered.
Yeah. Well, there actually wasn't one on IMDb. I was fucking with you guys. I just want Jeremy to get pissed.
Oh, I know the answer. Don't worry.
Hey, Frank, are you free tomorrow night?